我今天跟学里的人聊，他们全是有钱人，他们全都笑我，他们都叫我下海。下海就是对的吗？我不想下海啊，为什么一定要下海？
今年出来找工作的人太多了。
There are just too many people looking for jobs this year. I've been in the nightclub industry for 17 years, but honestly, this is the year with the highest number of people entering the field. Especially the number of girls working at nightclubs. It's more than any other year, and this trend seems to only keep growing. Why is that? Over the past 2 years, many brick-and-mortar shops have shut down one after another. Countless college students become unemployed right after graduation. Many people who tried starting their own businesses not only failed to make money, but ended up with hundreds of thousands of yuan in debt, unable to keep up with their home and car loans. Some places can't even pay government employees' salaries. In this kind of economic environment, many women have ended up in nightclubs. Originally, a single nightclub might have had around 200 girls on duty, but now most places have 300 to 400 girls working, and every day, at least 10% of them can't even get a shift. Not to mention, quite a few girls have moved into foot massage parlors, dance halls, live stream sales, and group broadcast studios. In first-tier cities like Shanghai, Hangzhou, and Chengdu, the number of women working in nightclubs has already exceeded 1 million. I even think that once the college students go on summer break this year, the number will rise even more. What do you all think? Does that sound right?
一个朋友说，今年夜场的小姐越来越多了。
Recently, many friends have been sighing. There are indeed more and more hostesses in nightclubs this year, especially part-timers, whose numbers have obviously increased. A friend mentioned in a group chat that another friend of his runs a KTV, and not long ago, a girl who graduated from a 985 university couldn't find a job, so she simply started working at their nightclub. I then asked another person in the group. His sister runs a medical beauty business, and he said that this year her performance has been extremely poor, almost unable to keep the business going. Online, people have also been saying that the cosmetics, clothing, and fashion industries, those dominated by women, are experiencing their coldest year in the past decade. If these industries are in full decline, then that actually means the overall female economy is heading downhill. Because the essence of female consumption is largely supported by transfer payments from men, and the problem now is, the big spenders are broke. It's really too hard for men to make money these days. Isn't the most popular saying this year? Money is hard to earn and shit is hard to eat. Just look at the news from a couple of days ago. China Merchants Bank released the spending record of a top donor, who was caught cheating. You'll understand. A single man like him can financially support several young ladies. These women are pouring money into medical beauty, luxury brands, and chasing fashion, all in the hopes of a potential return on investment. And the ones who truly spend big on their appearance are just a few groups: nightclub hostesses, online influencers, female celebrities, and mistresses. Because in that world, becoming beautiful means monetizing. But the problem is, when men's wallets shrink, the marginal utility of female beauty naturally weakens. When the economy is bad, even men's hormones cool down. For men, money and power are the strongest aphrodisiacs, but now that the aphrodisiac has lost effect, the impulse to tip young ladies also disappears. Another side of downgraded consumption is actually the collapse of the simp economy. When men have no money, they don't even want to pay the bride price for marriage, so how can there be talk of love and commitment? This forces women to consider, can they rely on themselves? But in reality, the industries women tend to work in are mostly service, administrative, or basic management roles. The average income in these jobs is generally lower than in male-dominated sectors like engineering, IT, or manufacturing. So in the long run, the female economy is bound to weaken. Middle-aged and older men now have stable finances, but they rarely spend. Meanwhile, younger men not only lack spending power, their mindsets have also changed. They no longer want to be simps, and they no longer want to spoil women. So when the top donors these women once relied on start exiting the stage one by one, then these women can only rely on themselves. That's why many of them are flowing into nightclubs to work.
终于明白了为什么有人说一入夜场深似海。 I finally, truly understand now why some people say, once you enter the nightlife world, it's as deep as the sea. And I finally understand why so many once glamorous nightclub beauties, once they leave this industry, become more and more gloomy, more and more unlucky. At the end of the day, it's really because it's just too hard to find a job out there. Look at the current environment, it's neither good nor the worst, but it just makes people feel lost. Wanting to find a job that both satisfies you and pays well is already difficult enough. Not to mention, the entire economy is in a downward spiral, businesses are closing down, companies are laying off workers, many bosses can't hold on anymore, some have even outright run away, some bosses have even switched careers to delivering food. In this kind of situation, any boss who can still steadily pay salaries and keep things running is already considered a big brother in the industry. You ask, are there jobs that pay a few thousand yuan a month? Of course there are. But the problem is, that amount of money is simply not enough for me to live on. I once worked in a nightclub and was able to earn tens of thousands of yuan. Now you want me to take a job that pays just a few thousand a month, and for the same 30 days of work, why is the difference in salary so huge? I really, truly can't accept that from the bottom of my heart. I've been thinking lately, should I go back to working in the nightlife scene? Maybe others think nightlife work isn't respectable, but I feel that, even if I go back and just slack off every day, I'd still be earning more than working outside. But here comes the problem again. Yesterday I went to the hospital for a checkup, and the doctor told me seriously, you really can't stay up late anymore. Your body right now is like an oil lamp that's about to burn out. If you keep pushing it, something big is going to happen. Hearing that, I smiled on the outside, but inside my heart was bitter. The doctor meant well, but reality is even more real than health. I still want to be alive when I turn 60, and receive your blessings and gifts for my birthday. So the idea of going back to nightclub work, maybe I'll just keep it in my own thoughts and let it go. Just like that old song says, time once gone never returns, and the past can only be reminisced upon. Making money is really too hard. All I can do now is reminisce about my past memories of working in the nightlife scene.
为什么进入夜场的女孩子越来越多？
Why are there noticeably more girls entering nightclubs this year than in previous years? The most fundamental reason is in fact that this year's overall economic situation is extremely severe. A large number of industries are sluggish, layoffs keep emerging, and the wages of ordinary workers are mostly only 5,000 to 6,000 yuan, but facing soaring living costs, such an income simply cannot support daily expenses. Nowadays young people are no longer the traditional moonlight clan. Many people just after receiving their salaries haven't had time to plan when credit card bills, online loans, and various living expenses are already lining up to be paid. In other words, their spending pace is far ahead of their earning pace, and the salary often barely leaves their pocket before it's gone. Meanwhile, the rapid spread of information on the internet has made more and more girls who originally knew nothing about nightclubs begin to learn about the real picture of this business. Especially after seeing that nightclub wages are daily settled, some young women with tight finances and an urgent need for cash flow feel tempted and thus one after another step into this line of work. But the brutal reality is, this year the nightclub market's friendliness toward newcomers is far less than before. As a large number of girls rush in, the originally limited resources are repeatedly divided and competitive pressure rises sharply. It's like a few years ago many girls could pick up 2 or 3 shifts a day, never worrying about having no shifts. But this year many girls anxiously ask every day, is there a shift today? Can I get scheduled tomorrow? The anxiety brought by this uncertainty makes many girls suffer unbearably. Ultimately it comes down to this: the cake has become smaller, but the number of people grabbing the cake is growing, and there will always be those who get nothing or not enough to eat. Nightclubs may look glamorous, but this year they have become extraordinarily cutthroat.
A post-2000s girl takes on nightclub work, saves 400,000 yuan in a year. Here's her daily life. Yesterday I made 3,600 yuan in one day. So today I'd like to share with everyone how I spend a full 24 hours. During the day, I sleep straight through until 5 p.m., then slowly get up, wash up, and have a relaxing breakfast. After eating, I take care of my little cat, cleaning up its poop. Then it's time to shower, do my skincare, put on makeup, and pick out my outfit. For real, I have to get into the best state possible, put on the style that fits today, and become a pretty little princess. By that time, it's usually around 7:30 p.m. After that, I take a taxi to the company, and around 8:30 p.m. I start room testing. Usually, testing 3 rooms is enough to officially start working. I also have to adjust my mindset, stay in a happy mood, and deliver full emotional value. Normally, by around midnight, I'll have finished the first round of work. If I'm not tired, I'll do a quick touch-up on my makeup and move on to the second round, which ends around 3:30 a.m. At that point, I'll grab a random late-night snack, then head home to get some rest. Let me remind all the sisters here, you must remember to drink plenty of water, and get yourself a thermos or some alien-type electrolyte drinks to replenish your lost energy. Only that way can you keep your body in good shape. This is the full rhythm of my day. Although it's busy, it's also fulfilling. I hope every sister can work hard while we're still young and make good money. When it really comes down to it, you can only truly count on yourself.
为什么越来越多家境还不错的川渝女生开始出现在夜场做捞女？
Why are there now more and more girls from Sichuan and Chongqing, with decent family backgrounds, showing up in nightclubs as gold diggers? You know, a few years ago, most of the girls working in nightclubs came from average or even poor families. They were truly struggling to survive, and without any real skills, they had no choice but to rely on their youth to make a living in nightclubs. Back then, girls would rarely step into this industry unless it was absolutely necessary. But in the past year or two, especially in many high-end venues, more and more girls aged 18 to 23 from relatively good or even very privileged families have appeared. These girls have lived worry-free lives since childhood. Their families exposed them to the world early on, and compared to their peers, they often carry a strong sense of confidence, even superiority. And once someone feels superior, their vanity tends to grow as well. Although their families can provide them with a comfortable life, the pocket money they can truly control is limited. But today's society is filled with temptation. Money is king, and consumerism has penetrated every aspect of life. Lipstick, perfume, designer bags. Each of these items tugs at their wallets and reshapes their values. Once their desire to consume is awakened, relying solely on their family's support is no longer enough. And since they're unwilling to give up the pursuit of a refined lifestyle, some simply choose the nightclub path to make fast money. So how can we identify these rich second generation, or by Fu Mei, white, rich and beautiful types of nightclub girls? Actually, it's not that hard. They dress appropriately, not overly revealing. Their faces are natural, no plastic surgery. They speak softly, don't smoke, their teeth are clean and tidy, and they have that girl next door vibe. This kind of upbringing is not something that can be faked. Also, they're not like those system-trained gold diggers who try to reel in every man they see. Their desires aren't as intense. Earning 100,000 yuan a month is already enough for them. So, seeing girls in nightclubs nowadays who seem to come from good families is no longer surprising. This is no longer a space exclusive to girls in need of money.
Why are more and more girls choosing to work in nightclubs these days? The reasons are actually very realistic and much more complicated than you might imagine. First of all, the overall economic environment is bleak. Offline businesses continue to decline, and many girls, in pursuit of beauty, choose to undergo cosmetic surgery. But behind this often lies massive debt. Once trapped by financial pressure, they have no choice but to turn to nightclub work in hopes of earning high income quickly. Secondly, the once popular live streaming industry is no longer what it used to be. Even some fairly well-known online streamers struggle to make decent income, and it's difficult to monetize, so quite a few have switched to nightclubs instead. Third, among the post-2000 generation of girls, a significant portion have relatively low educational backgrounds and entered society quite early. Due to a lack of professional skills and academic qualifications, they're unable to secure better job opportunities. As a result, they rely on their youth to make a living, treating nightclubs as a short-term solution. Lastly, many freshly graduated college students face low-paying jobs that offer just 3,000 to 4,000 yuan per month. They see no future in that, and the income doesn't meet their personal consumption needs. Rather than climbing the ladder step by step, they jump straight into nightclub work, hoping to make quick money in in the short term. With all these factors combined, it's not hard to understand why there are more and more girls in nightclubs nowadays. Do you usually go to nightclubs? And what do you think about more and more girls choosing to work in nightclubs these days? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely want to hear what you have to say. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.